The Badgers return home on Saturday, take on Rutgers at 11 a.m. in a game that will be televised by BTN. Prior to the game, fans are encouraged to participate in the Red-White Hunger Fight. UW student-athletes, volunteers from the Goodman Community Center will collect non-perishable food items and monetary donations at 8 designated locations around Camp Randall Stadium from 9:30 a.m. through the end of the first quarter. Head coach Paul Chryst is here. We'll have some opening comments, then take questions.
Well, certainly proud of the efforts by a lot of guys and getting a win last week. And, you know, every game plays out different. That's, I think, the fun of competition. And, you know, some guys stepped in and took on a different role. And I thought other guys in their roles stepped up and were able to get a good team win and need to build on the positives and still areas, I think, in all. You know, we were talking about that earlier today, special teams, defense, offense, a number of areas where we can improve and need to improve to be the best team we can, and certainly look forward to having a best game we can against Rutgers, and I think it's a team that needs to keep growing. I know you guys have seen the release the depth chart. Dan Volts will miss the remainder of the season. Rob will be out for a period of time. Outside chance we can get him back for the end of the season. So, you know, once again, opportunity for guys to step up, and so looking forward to this week.
I just want to clarify on Volts, like that includes a bowl game, like, or
correct?
Is it, okay,
yep.
All right. As you keep talking about stepping up, but what are the expectations for Michael Dieter now? Are they the same as they were before we had to step in the last time? And what about like a guy like a Kapoy at guard who's got some time?
Yeah, I think that you know, Michael's a guy that's really, I think he's done a lot of really good things for us, and I think, you know, did a nice job finishing out the game. And the thing I appreciate from Michael is that he doesn't flinch. He just, you know, he rolls with it. And same thing, Micah jumped in, and actually his first snap had a significant block. And so I think those guys they're freshmen, but they've played, and Micah's started games, and so the expectations are for them to get better, and also to rely on what they've done and the knowledge and experience that they've gained, and apply that to going forward and helping contribute to us getting better offensively, and I think that helps our team get better.
Jason.
In the second half, when Rob went out, I noticed Tanner saw a lot more time at receiver. Do you see that continuing with Rob out? Is Tanner going to start at receiver and get a lot more time there?
Well, I think there's a chance for it to be how we played the second half. We'll kind of go through the week, and I don't think right now we're going in to change Tanner's role. It's always been that, and he's always been willing to, you know, whatever you need me to do, Coach, I'm good, and talk to him during the game, during the second half particularly, and, you know, he felt good, and so that whole Tanner's part of that group that has to step up and replace Rob. I mean, the thing you feel, I know I've said this before, but, you know, I feel bad for Rob, and he was playing really good football, and yet, you know, it'll give some other guys an opportunity, and they got to, you know, step up. And you know, I thought that was one thing that Alex did, was Alex understood what was happening, and he raised his level of play, I thought. And, you know, same we said, you know, Joel loves playing the game, and he didn't get to play much in that game, and it gives Bart an opportunity, and you know, that's part of being on a team, and that's part of playing football.
Rob.
With Dan and now Rob, and added to Joel and Corey and the different injury issues you've gone through this year with, Has it crept in the back of your mind at some point of just saying, what next, who next, and how do you keep that away from getting into the guys' heads?
I don't think the players, everyone that plays knows there's a possibility, and I don't think that it's definitely don't go with the what next could happen. Woe is me. You like I said, you feel bad for the guys that miss time. They put a lot into this, and they love playing the game, and they love contributing to the success of this team. And it's also, the number of guys that have gotten their first significant playing time in the years that I was here. A lot of them come, some come from graduation, some come from moments like that. And so I think that's one of the qualities of this team that I like, is that they just, they don't take anything for granted, but they also don't let that get to them.
Jason.
You mentioned that Joel was cleared before he entered the game re-entered the game on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Did he experience concussion-like symptoms following that, and is he going through the protocol currently?
He I talked to him once they. I really don't spend a lot of time with. Once he came off and he was with the doctors, and then they said Joel's cleared, and so I went and said, "All right, you doing okay?" He said, "Yep," and then he went back in, and then we had that where it just didn't seem like maybe he was. I didn't know, so we had the timeout, and that's when we made the change. And so he went through the protocol again.
Is he currently going through it?
Yes, he's currently in the program.
Jeff.
Paul, back to the offensive line for a second. I know that the depth chart is one thing, but not every guy on that depth chart is ready to fill in.
Who says?
Well, reality says. How much flexibility do you have left there in terms of reserves if someone else, even for a few plays, goes down? And are we looking at Ray Ball and Hayden Beagler? Are they done? Are there any chance they're coming back at all this year?
I don't think that Hayden or Ray will be back. And so, it's Dan meant a lot to this team and certainly the offensive line. And we're definitely out one. But it's, we got guys we'll get them ready, and should that opportunity present itself, I think that's part of coaching, is give them a chance to have success. And it's not like, Dan was dinged up. I think he could have played 2 weeks ago, but didn't. And so it's not like we haven't had time to work with guys and develop them, and I think that's an important part of whether you're healthy or not healthy, is developing your players. And so maybe some it's a little bit sooner than you thought, but I think we'll never put in a guy that's not ready, that it wouldn't, that he could go backwards in his growth or development. But so I think that with Dan specifically, it's not like we haven't had to think through those and plan for that.
The word concussion protocol, and you said the program gets thrown around a lot this year with Erickson and Caputo and now Joel.
Right.
What exactly goes into the concussion protocol?
They tell you they're in it, and then they tell you if they're out of it. I mean, it's the doctors, and that's a good thing, that it's not in our hands, and the player safeties. It has been. It's not like all of a sudden player safety means something more now, right? In all the years that I've been able to coach and been around coaches, that's always been important. And so now I think there's more. I think there's a protocol or a list of things you check off and make sure that this is where we're at. And part of it's, every player has a baseline, and I mean, this is doing it in high schools now. They're doing it, so you've got a frame of reference, and then during the game, I know they ask questions and talk to them, and then there's an exercise component to it. Once they're feeling cleared, how do they respond to the exercise? And then the doctors and the trainers say that they're cleared and they're ready to go, and then you get them back into participation.
Just to clarify, is it a right knee for Volts and a left foot for Wheelwright, or?
I saw both on the plane. I don't know. It's a knee and it's a leg.
And obviously the protocol has a lot to do with Joel this week, but do you like where he's at right now?
Yeah, he was up yesterday and it was good, and he's definitely very similar to what Alex and Mike were after.
I know you weren't here the past few seasons, but Bart had waited a long time for a chance like that. Did you get a sense of what that opportunity meant to him to be out there getting meaningful snaps?
I thought the best part of what Bart did was he went out. He was true to himself. I think he was who he's been every day. He didn't change. The moment didn't change who he was. I think Bart's one of his strengths is his competitiveness, and I thought he did that, and I thought he just played the game, and I think this team means a lot to a lot of guys, and so when you can contribute, that meant a lot to Bart, and so that was what I thought were the great takeaways that I enjoyed seeing, was that here's a guy that you never know when that moment is, but he was ready for it, and he played and kind of true to himself, and he contributed to doing something for this team. I thought that was pretty cool.
You mentioned it even after the game that Bart was true to himself. That Bart was Bart. I've heard the word flaky to describe him before. He's talked about pulling hijinks with the other quarterback signaling in plays. How would you describe Bart's personality and what he's like?
I wouldn't call him flaky. I think that's hard because the players. So, I would describe Bart as Bart. That doesn't help anybody, right? Which doesn't really bother me. But I mean, like he's who he was, and I think he cares a ton. He's competitive. I think he's a good guy, and he's got a lot of depth to him. When you think about flaky, those things don't resonate in my mind, but he's a good teammate.
Jason, you guys have seen a lot of improvement on third downs the last couple games. What do you kind of attribute that to?
Well, I mean, we're executing better, and you got to do it every week, and so I think it's when you execute, you have a chance for success, and I think that's what we've been doing.
Dennis?
Paul, from a coaching standpoint, how tough has it been with all the injuries on you and on the staff? Have you ever had a season like this, or anybody that they can kind of relate and help you get through it?
It's not the hardest thing for me is that you know that those moments and opportunities for the players. I mean, that really is the hardest thing for me. The other part, it's knowing who you are, knowing who those players are, and what can you do to help them help the team. And you don't spend any time reflecting, or it's what it is, and it's good, and it is fun getting guys ready, and that's called coaching, and feel really lucky to coach, and then it's to make sure that they're as prepared as you can. So I don't I guess, Dennis, I haven't thought about any of that. You just you feel bad for the guys that miss, and you're excited for the other guys' opportunity, and then it's your job to try to help them maximize that opportunity.
The weekly exploratory question about Corey.
You should have covered that with the backhanded microphone move. And
You know, he had talked last week about planning to go down. Obviously, that changed late in the week. What happened there, and has anything changed this week leading to the Rutgers game?
Well, we'll always travel guys that can play, and you know where he was at, he wasn't going to be ready to play the game, and so we'll see what this week brings, and looking forward to that, and you know he's cleared to practice, and I think the practice will determine when he's ready. And so we'll hopefully have a good week and find out.
Tom.
Paul, how has this defense changed since the time you left here to now?
It's I mean the obvious has changed. You know I think the style's a little bit different. You know, with the 3-4 and certainly what Dave brought, it's you know, there's a lot of different looks where I don't think before, you know, we weren't as multiple, a little bit more on third down, not more than what we're doing now, but we had a little bit of change up, and so it's and I think each year the players define it for you. Like right now, when I think of our defense, there's faces that pop in, you know, and it's Schobert, it's Caputo, it's Vince, it's Darius, it's so, you know what I mean? So but I think it's, they've been big, you know, and they've given us a chance in all these games, and you appreciate that, and I like their confidence, and yet it's there's a willingness for them to work, and I think there's a good balance of pride, not arrogance or anything. But I think it's schematically, it's certainly more multiple.
Being the hometown guy, when you got hired back in December, I can't imagine how excited you were for this job. But if somebody had come to you then and said, "Hey, in your first year, you're going to have 7 different combinations on the O-line. You're going to lose your starting center, your quarterback, your running back, your wide receiver," what do you think your response would have been back then?
I mean, it's two totally different things. In each season's, it's a you know, it's a journey, and you get to do it, and I enjoy that. It's all part of the deal, and it's unfortunate for the players, but I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't have changed anything.
Paul, follow up on Corey, because I'm not sure if we're going to get a chance to talk to him tomorrow, but he was kind of cautiously, didn't think so. He was kind of cautiously optimistic, I think, when we talked to him, that he'd have a shot to play. Do you sense that he might suffer a mental setback just from the fact that I'm sure he was disappointed to have to sit at home and watch the game if that's what he did?
No, and no, I don't anticipate any setback from that. And wouldn't you want to cover those things, and that's why I think just communicating with Corey helps, so that he understands and we're all on the same page. But I don't anticipate anything like that being a setback, and in fact, you hope it helps. You know, there's a better setup here for treatments and rehab than on the road in the hotel and on game day. You know, so that was all factored into it, and you know, the biggest thing will be actions. You know, and that's a lot of talk about hypotheticals and all that. He's got to go do it and trust it, and then do it again. Do it the next day, and I think that'll add to the trust, confidence, and that's what we're working through.
Brian?
Paul, how good were your cover units against Illinois?
I thought they were really good, and we thought that we were going to be tested in a big way, and I thought the kickers did a nice job. The wind was a factor in the game, but I thought the guys knew there was going to be a challenge, and they rose up to that, and I think we grew from that, and I think we're going to be tested this week again. I think, we've got a heck of a returner, and so we've got to build on the things we did well, and I thought Jack did a nice job on his kickoffs, the ones into the wind. Thought we had a good plan for it, and guys understood it. And then Drew did a nice job, and so that was good. Certainly we've got to get the return game going. That's been struggling, but the coverage units did some really good things. That was a big part of the game, and we've got to build on that, keep that, and get that better.
With this game being on Halloween, obviously probably see a few costumes in the crowd with the student section, and knowing how important fashion is to football coaches, wondering
especially this one.
Yes. Wondering if there's any chance we see a return of the red helmets, or have we seen the last of those around here?
All this stuff we've been talking about before has a lot more to do with the game than that. I don't even know. Am I going to wear a costume? Yeah.
Anything else for Dennis in the back?
What kind of challenges do Rutgers bring to you this week?
Well, I think offensively, and I know Saturday they didn't put up a lot of points, but you watch the Indiana game and how they came back. I think offensively they've got a lot of weapons, and I think they do a nice job of running the football. And if they get the running game going, the play action passes off of it, and I think have some very good players. And defensively, I think that they're up front. They're good, and can cause a lot of disruption. They've done a great job of getting to the quarterbacks, and I think that their coverage schemes are really sound, and they've got good players there. It's I feel like on both offensively and defensively, you have to go earn what you're going to get. They won't give you anything, and I think that they'll present some different challenges for our defense we haven't seen for a while. And I thought they're, just from looking at it early in the week here, I think they're, again, I thought, Brian talked about our coverage units, and I think we're going to be tested again. I think their return groups are really, really good, and so I think we've got to, that's this time of the year and playing in conference, you challenge. I mean, they took Michigan State down to the wire, and it was a good football game, and you watch it, and they've had some very good games, and I think last week, they played the #1 team in the country, and but we expect a very good team coming in.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.